Sometimes life slows down before we even notice it. Maybe you've seen it in your parents, or even in yourself. Climbing the stairs becomes just a little harder. Lifting a grocery bag feels heavier than it used to, and one day you realize you're sitting a lot more than you're standing. This isn't laziness, and it's not just getting older. It's something much more common and much more silent than most of us ever talk about. It's called sarcopenia, a gradual loss of muscle that happens naturally as we age, but just because it's common doesn't mean it's harmless. In fact, studies show that by the age of 80, many people have already lost up to half of their muscle mass compared to when they were younger. Half. That's not just a number that's independence, that's strength, that's the freedom to move without help. And yet, this slow muscle loss doesn't often make headlines. It doesn't feel like an emergency, until the day a loved one falls or can't get out of bed without help. But here's the hopeful truth. It's not too late. Not at all, because today we're going to explore gentle, powerful ways that many people are rediscovering strength even well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Not through extremes, but through small daily choices that bring back life to the body. Let's walk through this together. 1. Muscle loss is not inevitable. Now here's something that may surprise you. Not everyone loses their strength as they age. In fact, some people in their 70s, even into their 90s, are climbing hills carrying groceries with ease and doing things that many folks half their age might struggle with. They're not celebrities, they're not athletes, they're just regular people, neighbors, uncles, aunts who've become what scientists now call super-agers. Let me tell you about one of them. Her name is Dorothy, and she's 83 years old, lives just outside St. Louis. She still walks her golden retriever every morning, briskly, twice around the block, rain or shine. And when her grandson recently challenged her to a wall sit contest, she beat him by 27 seconds. Stories like Dorothy's aren't rare anymore. Studies now show that not all aging has to come with weakness. We used to believe that muscle loss after a certain age was just a fact of life, something inevitable. But science is proving otherwise. There are people in their 70s who have the same muscle strength, balance, and coordination as those decades younger. The real question is, what are they doing differently? Well, as it turns out, there are a handful of daily habits, simple things, that have made all the difference for these super-agers. And what's beautiful is that these habits don't require a gym membership or a perfect diet or expensive supplements. They're natural, gentle routines, and anyone can begin them starting today. Let's take a closer look together. 2. Why doctors are still in the dark. Now here's something that can feel a little confusing, even frustrating. You see, many older adults follow all the advice their doctors give. They try to eat better, walk more, take their vitamins. And yet, the energy doesn't come back. The strength doesn't return the way they hoped. Have you ever wondered why that is? It's not because doctors don't care. They do. They care deeply. But sometimes even well-meaning advice doesn't match what modern science now knows about aging. You see, most of our current health recommendations were designed decades ago, at a time when we knew far less about how muscle metabolism and aging really work. And even today, medical training often spends far more time on treating diseases than on preserving vitality. Very few doctors, for example, are taught how muscle function changes in our 60s, 70s, or 80s, or what really works to bring it back. Here's a simple example. Many seniors are told just to stay active. But what does that really mean? A short walk around the block. Some light gardening. While those are lovely and helpful, they may not be enough to truly preserve muscle mass or prevent falls unless they're combined with specific types of activity and nutrition. Let me tell you about Tom, a 76-year-old retired schoolteacher from Oregon. For years, he did everything by the book: daily walks, low-fat meals, plenty of rest, but his strength was slowly slipping away. It wasn't until he began working with a physical therapist who specialized in aging that he discovered the type of movement he needed was different. targeted, focused. Just a little more structured, and it made all the difference. So it's not that we're doing things wrong, it's that we're using an outdated map. The good news: the new map is here, and it's filled with small, hopeful changes based on real science and real results that can help us stay strong, independent, and joyful for years to come. Habit 1. Harnessing hormetic stress. There's a curious truth about the body, especially as we grow older. Sometimes the very things that feel a little uncomfortable at first, a splash of cold, a moment of hunger, a short burst of effort, are the things that wake our cells up, like tapping a sleepy shoulder and saying, "Hey, it's time to come alive again." That's the idea behind something called hormetic stress, a gentle kind of challenge that in small doses actually makes us stronger, not weaker. Now don't let the word hormetic throw you off. Think of it like this: just as lifting a weight slightly heavier than you're used to tells the muscle. Grow these natural stressors, cold heat, fasting, tell the whole body. Stay alert. Stay youthful. Let's start with cold. Ending your shower with just 30 seconds of cool water might not sound pleasant, but many older adults report it feels invigorating, almost like pressing a reset button. Why? Because brief cold exposure activates a special kind of fat called brown fat, which helps regulate energy and even protect our muscles. It also boosts a hormone called adiponectin, which helps preserve lean muscle, especially as we age. On the flip side, heat can have a similar effect. Saunas and hot baths done safely trigger what scientists call heat shock proteins. These tiny defenders help repair damaged cells and reduce inflammation. In Finland, where saunas are part of daily life, older adults have been shown to maintain more muscle and better mobility well into their 80s. And then, there's fasting. Not extreme fasting, not starvation, but simply waiting a bit longer. Between meals, say 12 to 14 hours overnight, gives your body time to clean itself up from the inside. This natural cellular housekeeping is called autophagy, and it's been linked to stronger, healthier muscles in older adults. Let me tell you about Richard, a 68-year-old widower from Minnesota. He started with one cold rinse a week, then added evening walks before dinner, then a bit of time-restricted eating. 6 months later, he wasn't just stronger, he said he felt sharper. More present, like someone flipped a switch inside me, he said, smiling. So if something small feels a little challenging, a cool shower, a warm sauna, a short wait between meals, remember, you're not punishing your body. You're gently reminding it, wake up. We're still in this. That's the quiet power of hormetic stress. A whisper to your muscles not to give up, but to rise again. Habit 2. Timing your protein. Right, as we grow older, the way our body uses food begins to change, and one of the quiet shifts that often goes unnoticed is how our body processes protein, the very building block of strength. You see, when we were younger, our muscles responded quickly to protein. A sandwich here, a chicken breast there, and the body got to work building and repairing muscle almost instantly. But after our 50s, that response becomes slower, quieter. Doctors and researchers have a name for this anabolic resistance. Now, don't worry, it's not a disease, it's just the body becoming a bit more selective. It listens for protein, but not quite as closely as it used to. And unless we speak louder through the timing and quality of our meals, our muscles may not hear the signal at all. The good news, we can absolutely adjust. In fact, one of the most helpful things we can do is spread our protein intake more evenly throughout the day. Most people have a light breakfast, maybe toast or cereal, then load up at dinner. But our muscles don't store protein for later. They work best in short bursts throughout the day. So here's a simple pattern that can help. In the morning, start with something rich and satisfying, maybe scrambled eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie with berries and almond butter. At lunch, include a source like grilled chicken beans or fish paired with hearty vegetables and dinner. Try a moderate portion of lean meat, tofu, or lentils enough to nourish but not overwhelm. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein at each meal, a rhythm. Your muscles will thank you. For Linda, a 72-year-old from Pennsylvania, told us she used to feel tired all afternoon. She'd skip breakfast nibble at lunch, then have a big meal late at night. Her doctor gently suggested adjusting her meals. Not more food, just better timing. And within weeks her energy picked up. Her arms felt stronger. She even started light gardening again. It's amazing how something so simple can feel like getting part of your day and your body back. So let's give our muscles what they need, not just in what we eat, but in when we nourish them. Because when we feed our strength throughout the day, it shows up for us. In every step we take. Habit 3. Vitamin D. The muscle switch. There's a quiet helper inside your body. A kind of switch. When it's on, your muscles respond with strength and steadiness. When it's off, that same strength can slowly fade, even if you're doing everything else right. That helper is vitamin D. Now, we often hear about vitamin D in relation to bone health or the immune system. But what many people don't realize is that vitamin D is also deeply connected to muscle function, especially as we get older. In fact, researchers have found that when vitamin D levels are too low, muscles become less responsive. Balance gets shaky, coordination slows, and even gentle movement can feel like hard work. This kind of deficiency isn't rare, far from it. More than 80% of people over 60 are estimated to have low vitamin D levels, and many don't even know it. That's why it's so important to get checked with a simple blood test. Ideally, your vitamin D level should be above 40 nanograms per milliliter, a range where muscle strength and reaction time are shown to improve significantly. So, how do we support this vital nutrient? Sunlight is one way. 15 to 20 minutes a day, if your skin allows, can do wonders. But as we age, our skin becomes less efficient at making vitamin D even in full sun. That's where food and supplementation come in. Try to include more vitamin D-rich foods in your meals. Fatty fish like salmon or sardines, egg yolks, fortified dairy or plant milks. And for many people, a daily supplement of 2,000 to 4,000 IUs may be helpful, though it's always best to check with your doctor first, especially if you're on other medications. Let me share a story about Gloria, a 74-year-old from Arizona. She'd been feeling unusually tired even after a full night's rest. Her legs felt heavy and she was tripping more than usual. A routine blood test showed her vitamin D level was just 18. After 3 months of guided supplementation and small changes to her diet, she felt lighter, steadier, and more confident on her feet. "It's like I got a little piece of myself back," she said. So don't overlook this quiet switch. Vitamin D isn't just about preventing problems. It's about powering your strength one healthy cell at a time. And in a world full of complicated health advice, that's one small step we can take. With confidence. Habit 4. Inflammation. The silent muscle killer. There's a kind of quiet trouble that can stir inside the body as we age, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that whispers. Slowly, silently. Doctors have a name for it. Inflammaging, a blend of inflammation and aging. But you don't need to remember that word. What matters is understanding what it does and how we can calm it. You see, inflammation isn't always bad. It's the body's natural way of protecting us when something's wrong. A scrape, a cold, even a sore joint. The body sends help. And then, when the job is done, it quiets down. But over time, in many of us, that system forgets how to rest. It stays switched on just a little. Not enough to cause pain, but enough to wear us down from the inside. And the first thing it seems to take is our muscle strength. Why? Because this low-level inflammation blocks the very signals that tell our muscles to grow or heal. Even with good food and exercise, the body can get stuck in repair mode, never quite moving forward. But here's the encouraging news. This process is not permanent, and the things that help are often as simple and natural as the foods we choose, the rest we allow, and the small habits we build. Let's start with the gut, where much of our immune system actually lives. When our gut is out of balance, the rest of the body feels it. But when we feed it well with fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, or sauerkraut, and a variety of whole plants, we help restore that balance. Try thinking of it this way. Your gut is like a garden. It needs diversity, different colors, textures, and nutrients to thrive. And then there are the quiet healers of inflammation, omega-3s from fatty fish. Turmeric and curcumin often found in golden spice blends, green tea berries, extra virgin olive oil. These aren't miracle cures, but together they create a gentle shift, a calmer body, a clearer mind, and muscles that can finally begin to rebuild. Let me tell you about Frank, a 70-year-old grandfather from Georgia. For years, he'd struggled with fatigue and stiffness. It wasn't until his doctor helped him focus on sleep, gut health, and adding more variety to his plate that things began to change. He didn't just feel stronger, he started walking his grandkids to school again. So, if you're feeling worn down, inflamed, or just slower than usual, know this. The path to strength isn't always through more effort. Sometimes it begins with less inflammation and more care, because when the body feels safe again, the muscles remember what they're here to do. Habit 5, micronutrients that matter. Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. In the world of health, we often talk about protein calories or exercise routines. But beneath all that are tiny helpers, quiet, powerful nutrients that work behind the scenes to keep our muscles strong, our energy steady, and our bodies functioning well. They're called micronutrients, vitamins and minerals we need in small amounts, but that play a huge role in how we age. Let's look at 3 essential groups that matter deeply for muscle health, especially in our later years. First, the everyday minerals. These are the building blocks that support energy movement and strength. Magnesium helps with muscle relaxation nerve signals and over 300 cellular reactions. It's found in leafy greens, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and dark chocolate. Zinc supports tissue repair and immunity. Try cashews, chickpeas, and whole grains. Selenium, often overlooked, helps protect muscle cells from wear. 1 Brazil nut a day can actually meet your needs. Second, the smart supplements. As we age, our body doesn't absorb nutrients the way it once did, even from a good diet. That's where gentle supplementation can help. Creatine is not just for athletes. Just 3 to 5 grams a day can support older adults in maintaining strength and muscle energy. Methylated B12 helps with nerve-muscle communication, especially if you've been taking acid-reducing medications. And vitamin K2, often paired with D, helps ensure calcium strengthens bones, not arteries. Third, nutrient interactions. Think of this like a symphony. One instrument, playing alone, is fine, but together they create something powerful. Vitamin D, for example, needs magnesium and K2 to do its best work. Iron and calcium can block each other when taken together. That's why it's important to avoid megadoses and focus instead on balance. So next time you're at the grocery store, bring a little list. Spinach, kale, lentils, avocados. Nuts, seeds, eggs, sardines, fermented cheese. And if needed, a few trusted supplements guided by your doctor, because sometimes strength doesn't come from doing more. It comes from nourishing what's already there, quietly, consistently, and with care. Habit 6. Reconnecting muscles to the brain. Inside every movement we make, from tying our shoes to reaching for a teacup, there's a conversation happening, a quiet one between your brain and your muscles. That connection is called a neuromuscular junction. Think of it like an electric wire. The brain sends a signal. The muscle listens and the body responds. But as we age, that wire can fray. Not all at once, but slowly. Signals get weaker. Muscles feel slower, and over time we may begin to wonder, why don't I feel as coordinated as I used to? The beautiful thing is this connection can be strengthened again, not through force or strain, but through simple intentional habits that help the brain and body speak clearly to each other again. Let's explore 3 ways to gently restore that dialogue. First, through coordination. When we move in new thoughtful ways, like learning a dance step, playing ping pong, or trying Tai Chi, we're not just exercising the body, we're training the brain to fire more precisely. Movements that require timing, rhythm, or reaction help rebuild those wires. Even something as joyful as dancing with music or following a slow yoga video can help muscles stay plugged into the mind. Second, through nutrition. The health of these tiny nerve endings depends on what we feed them. Certain nutrients help protect and energize them. B vitamins like B12, especially the methylated kind, alpha-lipoic acid, carnitine and choline found in eggs and meats. These aren't just supplements. They're quiet supporters helping the brain send stronger, clearer signals to every part of the body. And third, through brain training, mental activity. Just like physical movement keeps the system alive. Reading, doing puzzles, learning a new language, or even playing memory games, they may seem small, but they light up areas of the brain that reinforce neuromuscular pathways. Take Edith, an 80-year-old from Ohio. She started painting again, something she hadn't done in years. At first, her hands were shaky, but as the weeks passed, the strokes grew steadier. She wasn't just creating art, she was reconnecting with her strength. So if you feel a little slower, a little off balance, or unsure in your steps, know that your muscles haven't forgotten how to listen. They just need the message and the wire to be clear again. And with just a bit of care, that signal can come back stronger than ever. Habit 7. Progressive resistance training. If there's one thing that can truly change the way we age from how we walk to how we stand to how we feel when we look in the mirror, it's this progressive resistance training. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't that dangerous at my age? Aren't weights for younger people or gym fanatics? But here's the truth. Resistance training is not about lifting heavy. It's about lifting smart and giving your muscles just enough challenge to remind them, you're still here and still strong. In fact, research has shown that older adults who start resistance training, even in their 70s, 80s, or beyond, can regain muscle mass balance and confidence in just a matter of weeks. And it doesn't start with a barbell. It starts with you, right where you are. Let's walk through a simple step-by-step beginner plan. You can think of it as a zero-to-hero journey, but gentle and made just for you. Step 1. Start with body weight. Try sitting down and standing up from a chair 5 to 10 times. That alone strengthens your legs, hips, and core. No equipment needed. Step 2. Add resistance with light weights or bands. Even soup cans, water bottles, or stretchy bands can activate your arms and shoulders. Do gentle bicep curls, shoulder presses, or wall push-ups. Just 1 or 2 sets of 8 to 12 reps is a beautiful start. Step 3. Progress slowly, week by week. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. If today you lift 1 pound, maybe next month you try 2. If today you do 2 squats, maybe next week you do 3. Take Harold, a 78-year-old retired bus driver from Illinois. When he began resistance training, he couldn't stand from the floor without using both hands. 6 months later, with just 2 20-minute sessions a week, he was carrying groceries, doing light yard work, and his proudest moment lifting his great-granddaughter onto his lap without strain. It's not about becoming a bodybuilder. It's about building your body back piece by piece with kindness and strength. So if you felt unsure, afraid to start, or too late, I want you to know you are right on time. Your muscles are listening, and all they need is a gentle challenge repeated with care to grow back into the strength that's always been yours. Outro. If you take just one thing from everything we've shared today, let it be this. You don't need to do everything. Just choose one thing, one habit, one quiet promise to yourself. Maybe it's the cold shower in the morning that wakes your body up, or choosing eggs instead of toast to start your day with strength. Maybe it's sitting quietly in the sun, letting your skin soak in just a few minutes of natural light. Or going for a short walk after dinner, not far, just enough to remind your legs that they still carry you. You don't have to change overnight. You only need to begin gently, kindly, right where you are. We've talked about so many helpful ways to support your strength. From easing inflammation with food to reconnecting your muscles with your brain through simple, joyful movement, from feeding your body tiny but powerful nutrients to lifting just enough weight to whisper to your muscles, you still matter. Now, I'd love to ask you, which habit surprised you the most, and are you already doing one of these without even realizing it? If so, I hope you'll share your story in the comments, not just for me, but for someone out there who may need to hear it today. And if this video made you feel more hopeful or reminded you of someone dear, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it forward, because in the end, health isn't about doing more. It's about remembering that we're still capable, still growing, and still deeply worth the effort. Thank you for being here. You are not alone on this journey.